Hey guys, here on YouTube, and once I convert this to MP3 on my podcast across the boards. Uh, this is going to be a special edition of Topics on My Mind for today, the 25th of March 2020. And what I mean by that is I will be doing several individual videos, releasing them individually, and then of course bringing them all together as one big video. So you guys, or podcast, I should say, video podcast, audio podcast, whatever. So you guys can have a choice of watching them individually on YouTube, or watching and listening to it as a whole on YouTube and through the various podcast locations. But I thought I'd just let you know that because of what the situation going on right now. I have family home, so it's kind of hard to do a live stream of Topics on My Mind and without probably being interrupted and all that. So just thought I'd let you guys know about that. So enjoy the Topics on My Mind, and again, they will be individually uploaded and then edited together as one, so you guys can watch and listen to the whole one, the edited one together, which will be a long one. You'll be able to watch and listen to on YouTube and various podcast locations, but the other ones will be individual that you can watch on YouTube. So just thought I'd let you guys know about that, as well as if you notice a difference in video texture like lighting and sound. I'll be going from this camera to mostly my phone's camera, and that'll be the reason, because I will have to recharge the battery on this one while I'm using the other one. So just thought I'd let you guys know about that, and that's about it. So guys, enjoy and see you later. Hey guys, I wanted to come on here uncut, unscripted, on the fly and talk about something that was announced in the past 24 to 48 hours by our president concerning this situation that we're in right now. Now, we all know that he made the announcement several weeks ago to do the 15 days to slow the spread deal. Hashtag 15 days to slow the spread. Well, recently, in the past 24 to 48 hours, he made the announcement that not only does he acknowledge that we're coming up on the deadline, which is next week, but he also made an announcement that's gotten a lot of mixed reactions by a lot of people. And that is the fact that he wants this country up and running once again, economically and stuff, by Easter. By Easter Sunday, the week of Easter, however you read into it, or whatever you want to believe, the media is spouting out and all that. He's basically saying, look, I want things up and going by that time frame. Now, one thing I don't think he says is that he doesn't acknowledge is he doesn't want everything up and going like all at once. No, I think what he's trying to say is he wants a slow progression back to normalcy, because I think he realizes that we're going into the warmer weather seasons. He's not going to say that. That's something we can all see. And if we listen to what doctors and experts and all that are saying, a lot of them have concluded that warm weather, warm environments, hot environments of whatever kind, weather, liquids, heaters, you name it, they are essential to combating this situation. And basically, it's because this situation doesn't like heat of any kind. So anyway, long story short, I think Trump acknowledges that we're heading into that time of year to where that's going to be essential. Now, the reason I say this is met with mixed reactions is because obviously you have Dr. Fauci, who is one of the leads of Trump's medical administration or whatever, something like that, one of the people he leans into or relies on. And obviously you could tell that they don't always agree on stuff or see eye to eye. Like I said, what was I trying to say? People like Fauci and a few others, you can tell they're not like in agreement with what he's saying. They're trying to say, look, it's going to take longer than that. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. And what's interesting is now, if Trump doesn't change his tune in the next day or so and say, you know what, I've kind of reconsidered what I'm saying, it's going to take longer, but I want to make an exception, because I think that's what he'll do. I think he'll make the exception of come Easter, yeah, you can get back together for that one day, and then you got to heed to your state's orders to kind of slow the virus. So I think that's what Trump may essentially come out and say, that, yeah, he wants things up and going by Easter, but after reconsideration, he'll make Easter that one exception and then kind of go back to what we're doing. He did acknowledge that within the next week or so, after this 2-week situation, that if they do need more time, they will probably give more time. But a lot of people have pointed out there are many states in the country that, they may have, the situation among them, but they're not reporting a lot of cases. And if they are, it's just like 1 or 2 a day. So I think that's what he's trying to look at. He's trying to look at the positives outweighing the negatives. Now, on top of that, of course, you have some of the government officials, mostly governors of the state, that see otherwise. Like here in California, you have Governor Newsom that basically came out today or yesterday and said it's going to be pivotal, that the next 6 to 8 weeks is going to be pivotal in what the decisions are. And a lot of people are not happy about that. Some are, some are not. And it's like, really, 6 to 8 weeks, maybe 6 to 12 weeks? Are you out of your mind? That's not going to work. Now, some may say that Newsom is also looking at the warmer weather situation as well. Like, hey, look, if you look at the next 6 to 12 weeks, what are we going to get? What are we heading into? That's going to help. That's why I want to wait and hold off. And it gives more time for a lot of stuff to come in. I get that. But then you also have people that, come on to places like YouTube and have their shows where they kind of talk about things the media and others don't talk about. And that's what's really the purpose. That's what's really the agenda. And some might say, oh, the reason Newsom wants to hold off, maybe, or say the next 6 to 8 weeks is pivotal, or 6 to 12 weeks is pivotal, is he's hoping for more cases to pop up and all that. So it makes, Trump look bad. Because a lot of people are still pointing out, a lot of people, I should say, are still looking at the fact that the reason a lot of people don't know what's going on or don't know what to believe is because you have one side, the Trump administration and Trump himself, saying, hey, look, this is what's going on, we're making great progress and all that. And then you have people on the other side, some that are within the Trump administration and some Democrats and all that, like Pelosi and others, that are making it sound worse. Or sounding indifferent. You got things like the New York Post, you got this, you got that are basically mixing up a lot of words and nobody knows what to believe. But the question is, though, will the country be ready to go, or at least sort of be in a restart, a retcon stage by Easter, as I put it, like Trump wants it to be? And I would say parts of it. I'm going to be honest. I think parts of the country, maybe even parts of bigger infected areas, will be ready to restart, ready to retcon, reboot, if you will, and try to get life back to normal. That's what I'm thinking. There will be some states and some parts of the larger infected area states that will be ready to go. But in reality, I think we're looking at, in my opinion, because of the warm weather being a factor, being a positive factor, I think we're looking at more along the lines of late April and through May. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking through late April, mid to late April through May. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking basically maybe at a week afterwards, not the week of Easter, but maybe a week or two afterwards, going into May, and then May will basically be the month that, in my opinion, by the grace of God, is going to set the tone of the defeat of this situation. So, but again, will we be all ready to go? Again, like I said, I think some parts of the country and some small pivotal portions of the more infected states are going to be ready to go, but not everybody. And I believe, honestly, we're looking at a mid to late April throughout May realistic target for everything to start getting back into normalcy, or at least trying to. Because again, you got to look at a lot of the dates that some companies are giving, like bonuses or extra money to the employees and associates for. It's running up to about June. So I think everybody's looking at that warm weather situation as being, like the positive outcome we need, or the positive factor we need in this. Now, could Trump override some of the governors that want to wait an additional 6 to 8 weeks or additional 4 weeks 4 6 weeks after, the 1st of April or after Easter? I think honestly, yeah, because you can go on the internet, you can read all about how this works and that works from a political standpoint, but you're not going to know everything. You're not going to read about everything, because there are times when things happen that, from a political standpoint, things just all of a sudden the solution just comes out of nowhere, and you're like, well, where did this come from? I've never heard about it. And then you find out, oh, it's just something that they keep hidden, they keep secret, and only pull out once in a while when necessary. So I think Trump honestly could, in my opinion, override the government, all the state governors, and say, hey, I want it done by Easter. I want it open by Easter. That's what's going to happen, and I'm going to override you. And he'll find a way to do it. There's something, there's some kind of, I don't know what it is, some kind of law, secret law or something like that we don't know about. Secret kind of like last resort kind of thing that, presidents have in the possession, I think, that they'll be able to, that they learn about, they find out about, that they can use if necessary, but they don't let get out to the public. So I think honestly, yeah, I think Trump will use some kind of hidden agenda or hidden means that we don't know about political wise to override the governors and say, hey, you're going to do it, I'm going to make you do it. So that's just my opinion. But again, overall, I would say, again, will this country be ready by Easter? I'd say parts of the country, and I'd say small pivotal parts of the more infected states will be ready. Not everybody, because I think we're looking more at a mid to late April throughout May situation. So, but let me know what you guys think, though, down below. Comment if you like, and I'm out. Hey guys, what's up? Yeah, this part I'm doing with my phone, so I do apologize for like I said at the beginning, the topics on my mind. And if you're watching this as a whole, I do apologize for the difference in sound and in picture while I also check something right here. Okay, just making sure. Sorry for moving the camera, but there we go. But yeah, I wanted to come on here and kind of give my thoughts once again on something that I talked about during my lunch hour, basically back on the 18th of this month, basically 7 days ago, about a week ago. I talked about this. And it's basically due to the fact that Universal, believe it or not, will be releasing a lot of their movies, mostly Trolls World Tour, which is Trolls 2, the success to the 2016-2017 film. And yeah, I went on and I asked, I super chatted a question to John Campa during the John Campa show this past week. And I asked him what his thoughts were on it. And I basically had to correct myself because I had to do like two separate ones. The second one I had to correct myself on because he didn't know what I was talking about with the first one. But the second one, I told him, with the second one, I said, I apologize for not, sounding correct in what I was saying, but I basically told John, I basically asked him, do you see this being a new trend? And he said no. What's going on right now, which is true, this whole situation we're in is not something that you could just, utilize as creating a new trend for something, because what's going on right now with Universal doing what they're doing with Trolls 2 and a few of their other movies upcoming is not something that any movie studio should be doing, especially if it's violating or going against the partnership that you have with the people at NATO. And again, as he put it, it's not the same kind of NATO that you think of military-wise and all that, but basically the NATO associated with movie theaters and owners and stuff like that. And mostly theaters, the people in charge, the head person in charge there, they're not too thrilled, they're not too happy with Universal and what they're doing, and basically have vowed that they will not forget Universal turning their back on them or going against them or rebelling against them and doing something that they shouldn't be doing. Because what they're saying is Universal is basically coming out and saying, hey, Trolls World Tour, aka Trolls 2, yeah, we're going to release that not just in theaters, but simultaneously on home video. And here's the thing. Yeah, here's the thing. They all right in one area. Universal is lying, but partially. You see, what I mean by partially is the fact that Universal didn't know, like any movie studio didn't know that theaters were going to have to close down for 6 to 12 weeks. They didn't know that. They didn't know that when they made that decision. They probably made the mistake of not letting anybody know ahead of time of what they were going to do. Ooh, instead of like a half hour beforehand, but still, Universal, along with any other major movie studio out there, didn't know theaters were going to close up for as long as they are. And yet, here we are. And I heard what John Campa said said in response to my question and a few others. In his opinion, he doesn't look at Trolls 2, Trolls World Tour, if you will, as being a profitable gain for Universal. That he basically feels like a lot of people have commented about this through various comments on the video on his video talking about this, as well as elsewhere, that Universal's probably looking at Trolls 2 and being like, yeah, this is more for a video kind of direct release than anything else. And I don't think, and honestly, I can't say that's true or not, but if you're putting so much investment and promotion into this, that you're just doing it to, now you're just going to treat it like something you meant to go to direct to video. I don't think that's the case. I think honestly, Trolls 2 was meant to be the success Universal was hoping it would be theatrically. But unfortunately now that's not going to happen. And the one thing that's pointed out is the reason the reason this organization, the NATO, if you will, of movie theaters owners and stuff, are okay with other movies getting a similar treatment is because they at least had time. Even if it was a week, they at least had a week's run in theaters. At least they abided by what was necessary. Everybody points out that what Warner Brothers and Disney are doing is something that Universal should be doing, but yet you have rumors going around that Disney may consider putting Black Widow on Disney Plus, and going that route as well, because they don't know when they're going to be able to get it out. There's stuff like that going around. Heck, even people pointing out that Warner Brothers, even though they've pretty much come out and said that Wonder Woman 84 is going to be in August now, that all the other movies they have yet to give a date to, like Scoob, they might go to the direction of Universal, but maybe they're going to wait till June or July for that. The point that I'm getting at is, here's my opinion on it. The point that I want to get at is this. Was Universal wrong? Was Universal Studios wrong in not letting NATO, the people in charge of all the movie theaters, the National Association of Theater Owners, were they wrong in not letting them know at the appropriate time, like letting them know ahead of time of, hey, we probably are going to plan to do this, and we know it probably violates our partnership, but we want to get this out for everybody when we can. Should they have let NATO know? Yeah, they should have let them know. I'll give them that. They should have at least gave them more of an advanced acknowledgement of what they were going to probably do. Instead of this, in the span of 30 minutes. Instead of just a span of 30 minutes, they should have at least let the people know what they were planning to do. And here's the other question: is it going to hurt Universal's partnership with the movie theaters with NATO? No, No, I don't think it will. I think if anything, ladies and gentlemen, I think the theaters, the National Association of Theater Owners, I think honestly, they're gonna want to bounce back from this whole situation right now that we're currently in so desperately that they will be willing, in my opinion, to for forgive Universal. Like the president in charge of NATO, the National Association of Theater Owners, he may say they won't forget it, but guess what? They won't forget, but they will forgive. They'll be like, okay, Universal, here's a slap on the wrist. Don't ever do something like this again. That's what they'll do. It's like they won't forget it, but they'll give Universal a slap on the wrist, and that's it. And maybe even a fine. Who knows? But that's what I see, because they're going to want enough movies in there to bounce back economically themselves. Not just do a stimulus bill and all that, but they'll want something more. And if it's willing to forgive Universal, slap them on the wrist, give them the wave of the finger and say, don't ever do this again, don't be a bad boy anymore, they'll do it. They will do it. So, again, do I agree that Universal should have done it correctly, should have approached the situation more respectfully or more appropriately? Yeah. But I think whoever made the decision is looking at it like this. There's a lot of people that are going to have their kids out now because of what's going on. And whether the kids, like let's say with Elk Grove outside of Sacramento, is doing right now, which is, or planning to do, and that's have the kids go back to school online. Unless, school districts plan to do that, Universal's looking at the fact that, hey, these parents are going to have their kids home. We might as well just give them something in return to keep their kids busy and out of the parents' hair. That's basically why Trolls World Tour is being released the way it is. It's being released to keep kids out of the parents' hair, where the parents take care of stuff like clean the house, make phone calls, go online, make phone calls or go online to pay bills, rent, whatever. It'll keep them busy and out of the parents' hair. So that's why Universal's probably doing it as well. They realize, hey, we got to put ourselves in the parents' shoes. And I guarantee you the person that made the call for this to happen on Universal's behalf is a parent themselves. And they probably realize what's going to happen. So that's just my thought on it, guys. I think honestly, in the end, the National Association of Theater Owners, NATO, they're going to just not forgive, but they're going to do the slap on the wrist, wave the finger thing at Universal for what they did, because they're going to want movies in the theaters. That's what I think. So, but let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below. Oh, and thank you for watching. Hey guys, what's up? Yeah, it's about 8:14 in the morning Pacific time. I wanted to come on here and uncut, unscripted, on the fly, give you my thoughts on this whole situation with Diamond Comics. Now, in case you guys don't know, Diamond Comics is a main distributor of a lot of comic books across many major and independent and minor publishers or publications. And they made the announcement that until this whole situation that we're currently in blows over, which I believe is going to be a lot sooner than expected, they are going to cease operations until at least, it looks like, around the summertime, which would mainly be around June, most likely July. Which means any new comics, individual comics, if you will, issues that were going to be sold physically will not be released. They will not be distributed to various comic book retailers across the land. That includes places like the comic book shops in New York, because of currently what they're going through here in California, comic book shops like in Denver, like Mile High, and many others. They will not be getting any new supply. Now, there will be new issues coming out, I think, in April. That's the thing. But afterwards they will not be taking any orders for the newer stuff that would be out in May. They're not going to be doing that. Instead, they're going to hold off until, like I said, an indefinite period. And right now, from what I can read between the lines, that indefinite period is going to be between the summertime, which is like around June and July. As a matter of fact, Chris Ryall of IDW came out and said that between May 6th and the 28th of May, that things are going to be held off, things are going to be pushed back. So anything that you were hoping to see is not going to be seen until later on. Now, he did say that there are exceptions, I think he did say that there are exceptions to special event comics. I don't know if that means crossovers or anything, if that includes crossovers, because the one crossover a lot of fans have been looking forward to is this one of Transformers and My Little Pony in the crossover Friendship in Disguise. Now, if that does get pushed back, the most likely scenario, in my opinion, would be around June or July. And I think that would be great. Now, they could push it back even further to maybe even the time of the graphic novel. But I think with a lot of news going around lately about what's going to be happening economically, I mean, Trump, as I said in a previous video, basically said, hey, I want to get the economy, I want to get the country back up and running economically and such, by at least Easter. He wants to get it up and going by then. There's a lot of stuff coming out. There's even headlines saying that the U.S., like today, the U.S. Has been acknowledged as one of the countries out there that's really at a quick pace, really just shown that they are prepared for this. Like they're doing, going out there and doing things, right off the bat. Even though we're lacking supplies and everything in certain areas, it's like we are at the forefront to get this done. We're getting it done as quickly as possible. The other good news is finally both Democrats and Republican parties have agreed to pass and vote, most positively we're hoping, if not have already, on a $2 trillion, or if not $3 trillion, if not more so, stimulus package for everyone here in America. That includes individuals, families, small and big businesses, whatnot. Now I say small businesses, and I bring this up because that's kind of what Diamond Comics is like. I mean, they're not a big major business, but they are a relatively good sized business as being a distributor. So by having this announcement made and this bill, the stimulus package coming into realization very soon, if not sooner than we expect, I think Diamond Comics is going to come out. I think the president of Diamond Comics is going to come out and basically make the announcement that, okay, the stimulus package is going to help us. You guys can reopen if you choose to. That's what I'm thinking. So my point of view on this is I think the whole comic book situation is going to be okay. I've heard what other people have said, like, Clownfish TV, and I all due respect to them because they can be very opinionated, if not right on the money with the very opinionated thoughts. And they know a lot of people on the inside of the business, mostly Disney and whatnot. But I've heard what they've said. I heard what Neon has said about this being the nail in the coffin of the comic book business and the comic book industry. I think basically it's because of the fact that he looks at in my opinion, and Neon, if you're watching, it's all due respect, man. I said this with all due respect. I think he's looking more at the fact that people are gravitating more towards the digital perspective of comics instead of the physical, and by doing so, that's going to eliminate the need of comic book shops and everything and retailers if everybody's just going to go digital. And he has a right, and he has a right to his opinion, because one of the more ways you can one of the more ways you have access to new comics and material is through various apps. Amazon, IDW, Comixology, which is owned by Amazon, DC Universe, you name it. You have these, other options to get these new issues. So I can see where he's coming from. It's the same way, people like John Campy, or the John Campy show, or John Campa, the John Campa show, basically feels about, physical media like Blu-ray and DVD and CDs and all that. Basically, he's saying, look, Blu-ray and and DVD and 4K Ultra Blu-ray, whatever, they're going away. They're dying out, and everybody's focused more on streaming, more on digital. And again, he has a right to his opinion, and he works in the business, so he definitely has a stronger right to his opinion, because from someone that's worked in the business, he can kind of see something like that happening. But honestly, I don't think any of the physical stuff is going to be going away anytime soon. What they're doing, both Neon and John, what they're doing in their own individual podcasts and shows and videos, is they're just giving their opinion of how they see things progressing. Because here's the thing, I truly think and believe that they feel that the physical media of things, from comic books and movies and all that, they're still going to be around, but as time progresses, they're going to start to slowly fade out. Like, before you know it, you're going to go to a place like Walmart, where I work, and instead of seeing a physical copy of, let's say, Birds of Prey, you're going to see this little card that is now being sold anyway, that's basically good for either a 4K streaming, Blu-ray streaming, or whatever. That's basically what you're going to get. Basically that's what you're going to end up having to get instead of a physical copy, and that's what John's talking about. And again, I can see where he's coming from. I can see where Neon's coming from. But right now, I don't think that's going to happen. Basically, because I think what they're saying mostly is because of the economic situation we could be in, if not for the stimulus bill or package, that without the right finances or enough finances behind them, physical retailers of comic books could be gone. And I just don't see that happening. I mean, right now, what I see mostly, and I said this in my other video, is people getting mixed signals. They don't know who to believe, what's going on. They're not getting a straight answer. So that's what's confusing them. But as far as the comic book genre is concerned, the physical media of it, I don't think it's going to be going away anytime soon, because the president of Diamond Comics did implore a lot of people to go out and support the local retail comic book shops. And there are a lot of retail comic book shops that are still open amidst this whole situation that we're currently in. Some even in the hardest hit areas around them. Even if the state is not fully on watch, or whatever you want to call it, lockdown, whatever, they still have comic book shops that are still open, even in areas that have reported, new cases once in a while, every now and then. Here in California and in New York, I guarantee there's comic book shops open, but they're doing what they can to adhere to the rules. Like, they're doing drive-by service, they're doing pickup service, or if they're keeping open by trying to say, hey, we are kind of essential, or trying to work around that. They're basically allowing only a certain amount of people to get into the store. Like, instead of like 50 or 25 people, we can only do 5 or 10, and that's it. So, and we need you to, and they probably are going to say, hey, we just need 5 or 10 in here right now because of what's going on, and please can you space out so there's no compromise. Again, that's just an opinion of that's just my opinion of what I see. Like, what I can probably believe going on, that there are comic book shops across the nation that are doing that. Whether the areas are hit, whether the states, regions of the states are really hit hard of what's going on or not. I could see that going on because they want to try to make some kind of a buck here and there. So I see comic book shops still being around, and this is what the president of Diamond Comics was saying. He's saying, look, if you can go out and support these local businesses, it'd be great. We would be really grateful if you did this, and went out and buy the physical copies. There is reports going around. There is now with this announcement, a lot of comic book publications, like I said, IDW and such, are coming out and working around that by saying, okay, for the time being, we'll waive the non-fee returnable stuff. If you don't like a thing, you just go ahead and return them, no problem. Stuff like that. And by the way, if you still want to order, you can order, but you can only order certain back issues and back orders and graphic novels and all that. Because like I said, the newer stuff is going to be kind of in suspended animation, withheld, if you will, for at least a month and a half. Again, the timeline looks like it's going to be around June, maybe mostly July. So we can see what they do from there. But again, I don't think this is going to be the end. I think Diamond Comics is going to bounce. I think Diamond Comics, they're going to reopen. They're going to reopen their business, reopen their distribution. A lot of comic book retailers, depending on how the size of their, store, they're going to be okay. Marvel, DC, IDW, they're going to be fine. But the only, like I said, Marvel, DC, Archie, IDW, Vertigo, and all of them, they're going to be fine. The only downside is a lot of the newest issues, especially the issues that are conclusions to certain story arcs, like Sonic's Zombot, like the Zombot arc, the Zombie Robot arc, or whatever you want to call it. The Zombot arc is in the current progress of being basically concluded. And one of the issues, I think this whole thing started around 26, 27, 22 of the issues, or at least one of them, is going to be held off. I think 28 or 29 was supposed to conclude it. So, yeah, they're going to have to wait another additional month. And there's a lot of people of the Sonic fan base that, well, one, never liked the move to IDW because, like, where's the Freedom Fighters? Where's Sally? Where's Bunny? Where's Antoine and all that? Even though the guy that's the main writer, mainly associated with the IDW book, from a writing perspective, said, oh yeah, we're going to try to get them in. We haven't seen them yet. The point is, folks, that that story arc is going to be held up at least another month or two from concluding before they get into new stuff. And a lot of people pretty much feel the same way that Neon does about the comic book industry. Like, this could be the nail in the coffin of the IDW Sonic book, because from when it started off great, profitably, but now it's dropped off to the point that IDW should just cut the losses and let Sonic go to someone else. Maybe go back to Archie, who knows. But again, it's not the only one. Like I said, you got this crossover that's going to be held up for about a month or two, so it's going to be really, really interesting time if you're a comic book fan. But yeah, it all depends. But yeah, I think I think we're just kind of, as I say in a lot of my videos and podcasts or whatever you want to call them, we'll just have to wait and see and go from there. But I think honestly we're going to be okay. I think honestly, as a comic book, as a general, and as an industry, a business overall, I think comic books are going to be. I think everything's going to be okay. I think retailers are going to be okay. I think publications are going to be okay. I think they're going to be fine. Again, I think when it comes to guys like Neon of Clownfish TV and John of the John Campa Show, they're just giving their opinions of what they see possibly taking place, not now, but in the future, like in a few years, what the impact could be. So that's really what I think they see happening, and that's why they're talking about it right now. So, but anyway, though, guys, let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below. What do you think? What do you think of this whole situation right now? And do you think this will have a positive or negative impact in the future? Let me know down below. Comment if you like. I am out. Hey guys, you know, with the fact that a lot of fan conventions are not official conventions and stuff are either being postponed till later in the year or canceled until next year, the question is, if something like this was to arise again, which it won't, by the grace of God it will not, how do you think a lot of conventions like let's say TF Con, which is a fan-based convention out of Florida, or BabsCon, which is a convention here in the Bay Area in California. TFCon, which is of course short for Transformers Con, is a fan convention in Florida, mostly around the Miami area, I think. And BabsCon, which is short for Bay Area Brony Spectacular, or would have been known as BabsCon and Beyond this year. Do you think a lot of these conventions, in my opinion, should take an alternative approach if something, again, which it won't, by the grace of God it won't, but if something like this was to happen again? Do you think they should take alternative measures? Or come up with an alternative backup plan? Honestly, in my opinion, I think they should. I think they should come up with an alternative backup plan. Here's what I mean. One thing I've noticed on Twitter and various other social sites is people are going, you go on Facebook, you read about this, you click on it, and it takes you to the place. Hopefully it's not a trick, if you know what I mean. But usually, you have like InsideTheMagic.net over the past few days has talked about, oh, you click on here, you go take a virtual tour of Animal Kingdom, or you take a virtual ride on Space Mountain or something like that. I've noticed a lot of places are doing this to kind of give people, even though they're at home, an experience of what they would see in person. And one of the things I did notice online over the past week or so was something called HomeCon. And I think this is something done by the MLP fan base, maybe along with other fan bases, that allow people to be able to attend a convention, centered around their favorite franchise or franchises, and be able to interact through a Discord server, video chat, Skype, whatever you want to call it, kind of way. So at least it makes them feel like, hey, we're part of something. So the question is, when you take a look at something like Bay Area Brony Spectacular, BabsCon, or TFCon, Transformers Con, and other things like Winnie City, HasCon, which I don't know if that happens this year or not. Another, local or somewhat national or well-renowned conventions, fan base, or semi-official, if not official. Do you think they should go that route of, hey, we have the internet, we have Discord servers, we have things like Skype and FaceTime and all that? Do you think maybe that should be the next step? Like that should be the alternative in case, again, something like this, by the grace of God, it won't. But if something like this again was to take place or was to occur, do you think maybe that should be an alternative? And honestly, my opinion, I think it can be. Because you take a look at the fact that you have a lot of schools across the nation, here in California, New York, Texas, you name it, that are basically trying to get their kids to go back to school. They don't want the kids to go without finishing the school year in some capacity. Like some will say, okay, you know what, the school year is going to end in a month or so. Let's just pass all of you, and you get a second chance, next year in your new grade that you're going to be in, that you miraculously got to, especially if, let's say, that student's not doing so well as he or she should. But anyway, like I said, you have a lot of school districts across the country that are going in the route, even universities, they're going the route of doing this, to where kids will go online face to face with their teachers or professors, and they will finish their education for the year, maybe even have a chance to graduate, even if it's virtual. So again, the question is asked: is that a possibility for conventions? And I think honestly it can be. I think if organized correctly, done correctly, it could be something that they could look into. That's something that they could actually explore and have fun with. I think it could be something that they would love to do. Ooh, because again, by the grace of God, something like this will not happen again. But if something was to happen but if something was to happen again, like I said, by the grace of God, it won't. I believe this could be an alternative. I think BabsCon could continue, or could still continue and move along as scheduled, but they would just be doing it by virtual, computer and all that. Like, anybody that's attending or was scheduled to attend as a just as a guest to meet and greet, go to certain, panels and all that. Best solution, give them a code to get in, and then they become part of that Skype or that FaceTime group of audience, if you will, that was going to originally be, at the convention to do Q&A or hear stories from the cast and crew of a show or the writers and staff behind a comic. So I think honestly, yeah. I think this would be the next best thing. Especially again if something like this, and by the grace of God, I know I said it a lot, odd, but it is indeed true. By the grace of God, this ain't gonna happen again. This kind of a situation, but if it was, this could be something that would be an option, and I think a very good option. You know, you could give those that bought tickets, bought passes, and all that. You can give them, like I say, you can give them code words and all that that only they can utilize to get in, as if they were really attending the thing in person. So I think, yeah. So I truly believe, I think and believe, yeah, something like this could be a great alternative. That this could be the next step for conventions. A lot of people talk about, like I said earlier, a lot of people talk about, uh, digital is the next thing over digital and streaming and all that is the next thing. It's going to be the next thing that puts physical media like comics and all that out to pasture, which it won't because that'll be years from now if it does, and I mean many years. But this here could be something that could really help not put conventions, physical in-person conventions, out to pasture, but could be something that helps elevate them, make them better than ever, especially if things are beyond people's controls that would cause the convention's existence for that year to be in doubt. So, but I think honestly something like this could work. I think if something like this was implemented, if something like this had been implemented today, this year, or long ago, I think conventions like BabsCon and TFCon, I think they would have gone on without a hitch, but it would just be the fact that those that would have been attending or would have been guests of honor or guest panelists would be doing it in the comfort of their own home. And again, maybe with a code or a password given to the attendees, that's how they attend. So, but I think honestly, yeah, I think going online, doing basically a virtual kind of situation, face to face kind of thing, I think could really work. Because again, you take a look at the fact that school's going to be doing that now. Try to help the students finish the school year, whether it's public schools or universities or small colleges. I think this could be something else. I think this could be something that would work in that favor as well. So if done correctly. So, um, I don't know what that was. I do apologize. But yeah, I think honestly something like this could work. I think honestly something like this could work, and it could definitely be something beneficial. I really do. So, but yeah, I mean, again, you take a look at the fact that a lot of schools, universities, colleges are going in that direction. Why not conventions? And again, just in case something happens that's beyond our control, that either possibly threatens a cancellation or postponement, but you don't want to do any of those, you want to keep it the way it is, there you go. So, but that's really just about all I'm going to say on that, though. But what do you guys think? Do you think that could be an option? Let me know down below. Talk to you later. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the Topics on My Mind, the special edition, which is individualized and edited together. The edited together one, which is going to be a long one, is going to be viewable here on the YouTube as well as listenable through the various podcast locations like TuneIn, iHeart, Spotify, you name it. So you'll be able to listen to it as a whole, individual wise, like just individual clips. Those are only going to be seen here on YouTube. So let me know what you. So again, thank you guys for watching and listening, and I will talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care.